Hello, good day. So today we're going to answer the midterm examination that we given to us. So let's start. States 5 advantage of cultural relativism and discuss each. For number 1, it creates a society where equality is possible. Equality means ensuring that everyone has an equal opportunity to maximize their life and abilities. It is also the nation that no one should be denied equal opportunities in life because how they were born and where they came from. Advantage number 2. People can pursue a genuine interest. You will give someone a gift a sense of importance, well-being, and value by expressing real interest in their attributes, background, tales, interests, career, and or family, or anything else closely related to them. And like a great magnetic force, the law of attraction will attract individuals to us. Advantage number 3. Respect is encouraged in a system of cultural relativism. A civilization can evolve because there is a natural amount of respect built into the process because such a system supports individual definition rather than the group definition. Advantage number 4. It preserves human cultures. Cultures are defined by the people who live in them. Thus, they vary with the communities that celebrate them. This is one of the reasons why it is difficult for the people to understand why we conserve culture in the modern world of globalization, knowing that it will be most likely change in the future. We prefer to think that cultural preservation is more complicated and still allows for growth. Advantage number 5. It stops cultural conditioning. Culture is a construct that is intended to fool people into thinking is based on tradition, when it's not. Because of the internet, the world cultures are becoming increasingly homogeneous. Many stereotypes will be broken as a result, and behaviors like criticism will no longer be fashionable. Culture is a powerful asset for those who belong to the cultural group. It's like a hidden code. It strengthens of the group identity and helps to authenticate its shared reality. Question number 2. State 5 disadvantage of cultural relativism and discuss each. Number 1. It creates a system that is fluid by person bias. Because of that way, humans function very civilization has a natural bias. People prefer to be with others who share their beliefs and sentiments. Therefore, they divided themselves into neighborhoods, town, and social groupings with similar viewpoints. When people are given the authority to construct their own moral code, they will do so based on their own bias. Disadvantage number 2. It is an idea that is based on the perfection of humanity. Most people want to see everyone have the opportunity to be happy in the same way. This is the way that concept of cultural relativism can appear. The only issue is that no one is flawless. We are prone to the forgetfulness. We are capable of lying. When a vehicle cuts you off when you're driving, you put your family in the danger. We can become angry. When we encounter these types of imperfections without a community moral code to guide our judgment, anything can happen. Disadvantage number 3. It draws people away from one another. All true cultural relativism must enable individuals to come together to share their strengths. It can also cause when to drift apart. Unintentionally, you may form a close knit of society, but as Lewis says, each devil causes individuals to back away from one another rather than approach. Disadvantage number 4. It could limit moral progress. The laws and custom of the culture reflect this inclusion. The recent discussion in North Carolina and Texas over transgender bathroom restrictions is a wonderful example of this. Everyone would be able to use their preferred bathroom under cultural relativism, or a culture may mandate that everyone use a given restroom without exception, and there would be a perfect agreement in their case. Either option would be regarded as moral development inside the society, yet it may actually keep people back. Disadvantage number 5. Cultural relativism can turn perceptions into truths. The hood of an African-American teen hoodie is up as they walk along an aisle. His hands are shoved into his pocket, and one of which has a bulge. Some observations may quickly include that the teen is up to no good, and that the bulge is even a weapon. In this instead, that bias becomes a truth that can be acted upon in the world of cultural relativism. It makes no difference if the bulge is a gun or a bag of sweetless, because of the individual truth that the society permitted through its bias. The decision to act becomes a righteous one. Question number 3. Relate 5 right moral codes in the Philippines which relates to cultural relativism. Number 1. Norms of conduct. It is the idea that cultural norms and values have meaning in a particular social environment when considering morality, law, politics, and other systems. Cultural relativism leads to the conclusion that no one culture is superior to another. Number 2. Interpretation. Cultural relativism defines interpretation as not judge a culture according to our own criteria of what is right or wrong, weird or normal. Instead, we should endeavor to comprehend other groups' cultural practices in other own cultural context. Number 3. Conflict of interest and divestment. A conflict of interest arises when a person's personal interests such as family, friendships, fiancé, or social consideration may impair his or her judgment, decisions, or action at work. Conflicts of interest are taken so seriously by government agencies that they are regulated. Number 4. Penalties. A penalty in cultural relativism is a troubling since few of us believe our society code is perfect. We can all convince of methods to improve it. However, cultural relativism would prevent us from criticizing not only the codes of other communities but also our own. Number 5. Effectivity. The ability to understand a culture on its own terms without making judgment based on one's own culture standard comes with cultural relativism effectiveness. Sociologists and anthropologists can drive more accurate conclusions about other cultures in this way. Question number 4. Relate 5 wrong moral codes in the Philippines which relates to cultural relativism. Number 1. Lack of education. Even before COVID-19 struck and caused problems of millions of families, The country's financial status is one of the top factors that add to growing education issues in the Philippines. Poverty. The Philippines poverty rate decreased from 23.3% in 2015 to 16.7% in 2018, according to official government. That this shows that even though the economy has recently slowed, the Philippines is still making progress in poverty reduction. Corruption. The Philippines suffers from widespread corruption which developed during the Spanish period. According to GE109 Integrities, Philippines suffers from many incidents of corruptions and crimes in many aspects of civic life in various sectors. Drug war. The Philippine government drug war killings intensified during COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, as did unnecessary arrests during lockdowns. Human Rights Watch said today in this world. Teenage pregnancy. They need to educate young people to know the responsibilities as young people about the teenage pregnancy. Also, they need to know how hard the situation of being a parent and raise a child as a young of age. And that would